Hello, humans. Okay, fellow humans. I know probably in your feeds you may have already seen some some people talking about Transgender Awareness Week and what it means and stuff like that. So of course I got to jump in on this bandwagon here. So Transgender Awareness Week is just that, and the key factor of it is that it culminates on November 20th. And November 20th is what we call TDOR, TDOR, Transgender Day of Remembrance. And with that, on that day, we memorialize, we commemorate the lives of transgender, gender non-conforming, non-binary individuals who unfortunately have lost their lives due to violence and hatred. So far this year, there's been approximately, that we know of, 284 individuals who have lost their lives, again, due to violence and hatred towards the community. And like I said, that we know of, because unfortunately, a lot of these don't go reported by the media or even by the police, law enforcement. So, a lot of them end up as Jane Does, John Does, things like that. So, but it is something that, again, due to just violence, hatred, bigotry. So November 20th, and the week going up to from the 13th to the 20th is Transgender Awareness Week. So, a lot of people, especially now in society, everybody, that there are people that there's division and there is so much hatred against, what are we, maybe 1% of the population? And you want to say why? Because then, believe me, there are people, and some people have said things to me that, this world would be such a better place if it wasn't for. World would be a better place. Okay, well, you can look all of this stuff up online. There's so many places online you can look it up. But what would the world be without? And I'm going to go through a list. And some you'll know, some you'll be surprised about. But I mean, some of the famous transgender people throughout history. Christine Jorgensen she was really the first transgender celebrity, international transgender celebrity, had gender affirming surgery in 1952. 1952. Of course, everybody I'm sure knows Caitlyn Jenner. We know that. But even before that, Renee Richards. How many of you remember in the 70s and 80s, Dr. Renee Richards, a tennis player, tennis pro? Of course, actors and actresses. We have Laverne Cox. Everyone knows Laverne Cox. Elliot Page, who was actually in a movie a good number of years ago called Juno, but as Ellen Page. Was female at birth, now was Elliot Page. There's Lena Bloom. Lena Bloom. Who's Lena Bloom? Well, in 2021, Lena Bloom was the first trans woman to appear on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit magazine. So how many guys out there are guys? We got to get the SI swimsuit issue. We got to get that. The first trans woman to be on the cover of SI's swimsuit edition in 2021. You have India Moore, who, if any of you remember, a handful of years ago, there was a little show on TV called Pose. India's transgender is also non-binary, uses she, her pronouns as well as they, them pronouns. Okay, and I just did a little part one interview with a friend of mine, Melanie. Okay, watch that, who identifies as non-binary. So India actually was named in 2019 one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in the world. In the world. Okay? Now, what else? Entertainment industry. There's so many. Oh my gosh. So many individuals in the community that are in the entertainment world. How many of you remember a little movie with Keanu Reeves called The Matrix? so groundbreaking in every aspect, cinematography and special effects and direct everything. Well, when you watch that movie at the beginning, the directors are the Wachowski brothers. Keep on watching all of the other Matrix movies after that, and you'll see that turn to directed by the Wachowski sisters, Lana and Lena Wachowski. Directors, unbelievable directors in Hollywood. What about throughout history? Throughout history, okay, I'm sure everybody knows Chevalier d'Aron. Name sound familiar? Well, if you were around in the 1700s, she actually served under King Louis XV as a French spy and lived out her life as a woman throughout the rest of her life. You have Albert Cashier, female at birth, fought in the Civil War as a man. Now, the thing is, back in olden days, Revolutionary War, Civil War, even a lot of, all of the wars, the Spanish-American War, European wars, if there were any females, biological females, that wanted to fight in the wars, wanted to be part of it, they had to pretend to be men. The thing is, afterwards, when the war ended, after they served in the war, then they went back to living their lives as females. Albert didn't. Albert had an exceptional combat record, was part of the Union Army in the Civil War, and after the war continued to live his life as a man. You also have Roberta Cowell. Started off life as Robert Cowell, was a race car driver, a famous race car driver in the 1930s, and then became a decorated World War II combat pilot. Later, after the war, transitioned, started HRT, one of the first pioneers in hormone replacement therapy, utilizing hormone replacement therapy, and lived as a woman after World War II for the rest of her life. What about everywhere else? Well, I don't know if anybody has ever heard of like Typhoid Mary. No. Mary Malone. No, Mary was not transgender, but Sarah Josephine Baker, Dr. Sarah Josephine Baker, in the 1910s, was instrumental in identifying Mary Malone as patient zero for the typhoid epidemic. So helped to do research in typhoid and in typhus and identify Typhoid Mary. Plus, also, Dr. Baker developed the first child hygiene department in New York City, which lowered infant mortality rates, not just in New York City, but that example helped to spurn lower infant mortality rates across Europe. What else? Oh, Dr. Valerie Stone in 2011 was the first African-American transgender to become a professor of medicine at the Harvard Harvard Medical School. Also is nationally recognized expert in AIDS and HIV research. What about, well, let's see, how many of you probably, you go to the doctor and you have a little bit of a cough and the doctor wants to test for tuberculosis. Sometimes they do that little pinprick thing and see how that is. And even then the doctor may just take an x-ray, a chest x-ray, to see if you have any tuberculosis in there. Well, that chest x-ray process to check for tuberculosis, you could thank Dr. Alan Hart. Alan Hart was the first person to undergo gender-affirming surgery in 1917. Birth was female at birth. Dr. Alan Hart, gender-affirming surgery in 1917, lived openly as a man, was an expert in tuberculosis research, and helped develop mobile X-ray screening programs, which has saved how many lives for tuberculosis screening. So medicine, that's just a very small part. What about everything else? Oh, well, I'm sure a lot of you are probably like watching this on your little phone, that little electronic leash that we have. Well, you could thank Sophie Wilson, because Sophie Wilson, a trans woman in 1980s, developed the ARM microprocessor, which is actually found in your smartphone right now. You also have Marianne Horton. What did Marianne Horton do? Well, how many times have you sent an email to somebody and added an attachment? She invented the coding used to put attachments onto emails. So, I mean, how many businesses wouldn't be around without putting attachments on emails? Speaking of business, okay, here's another one. Business. This individual, Martine Rothblatt, entrepreneur, businesswoman, transgender woman, trans woman, entrepreneur, businesswoman, founded many businesses, as actually named by Forbes as one of the 100 greatest living business minds on the Forbes list. And one of those companies that she founded, well, I'm sure a lot of you probably subscribe to one of the companies that she founded. It's called SiriusXM Radio. So when people start talking about transgender people and, oh my God, all of these trans women, oh my God, and what the world would be a better place without them. This is just a very, very small list of transgender individuals who have added to our history. So, come on. Let's get things right. TDOR, Transgender Day of Remembrance. Remember, November 20th, we commemorate the lives of transgender, gender non-conforming, non-binary individuals who have unfortunately lost their lives due to hatred and violence. And the thing is that we're always going to have it. I know that, during our ceremonies, we always say, hopefully this is the last one, but hatred is part of the human condition. It's been since Cain and Abel. It's part of the human condition, hatred. People, hate other people for how many different reasons. It's not going to end, but the one thing, at least in my mind, the one thing that, helps ease hatred and division is just understanding, understanding and caring about other people. And that's it. So we want to celebrate life. We want to celebrate life. Yes, we have Transgender Day of Remembrance, and we celebrate the lives of these individuals. And, the individuals whose lives were taken from us. And it just reminds us so much to wear life gloriously. Put it on and wear life gloriously. Because up until the very end, the future is what we make it. So, see ya.